What's up, y'all, and welcome to Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast presented by Old City Sports Network, the best network for all your Philadelphia sports needs. Today is December 26, 2024. I hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas for all those who celebrate. For those who celebrate Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, happy first day to both of those holidays. This is your host, Michael Roscoe. A tough loss to the Commanders due to several key factors, including one ongoing problem that has yet to be solved. We'll find out what that is, along with other news and discussions for this Eagles team, going into a Kelly Green matchup against Dallas for Week 17, a game we need to win to put us closer to clinching the division. Without any delay, let's get into a very brief scoring recap of the Week 16 loss. Starting with the first quarter with 11 minutes and 15 seconds left in the quarter, the Eagles strike first with a 2-yard Saquon Barkley rushing touchdown. With over 7 minutes left, the Eagles would strike again with a 4-yard touchdown pass from backup quarterback Kenny Pickett to A.J. Brown. The Eagles currently lead 14-0. With just over 3 minutes left, Commanders get on the board with a 6-yard touchdown pass from Jaden Daniels to Jamison Crowder, cutting the lead down to 7. With just over 2 minutes left, we see Saquon Barkley go for a 68-yard rushing touchdown, a very high-scoring quarter. Eagles up 21-7. Moving on into the second quarter, the only score of this quarter would be a 32-yard touchdown catch from Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin to cut the lead back down to 7. Moving into the third quarter, this quarter would see only 2 field goals from Eagles kicker Jake Elliott, one from 24 yards and one for 40 yards, making the score 27-14 going into the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, the Commanders would score 2 touchdowns within a few minutes of each other. Both would be passing touchdowns from Jaden Daniels to former Philadelphia Eagle Olamide Zaccheaus. They take the lead 28-27. But the Eagles would follow this with 2 more field goals after failing to convert on various third down opportunities. The score is now 33-28. And in the final 10 seconds, the Commanders secure a win with a touchdown pass to none other than Jamison Crowder, followed by a successful 2-point conversion, ending with a final score of Commanders 36, Eagles 33. Backup quarterback Kenny Pickett would finish 14 for 24 for 143 yards, 1 touchdown to 1 interception. Saquon Barkley would finish with about 150 rush yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. With A.J. Brown, he would finish with 8 receptions for 97 yards and a score. All right, now let's go into the discussion about this game, starting with the offense, specifically the quarterback situation. After seeing how the offense occurred with Jalen Hurts and with Kenny Pickett's first drive versus how it was with Kenny Pickett for the rest of the game, I no longer want to hear shit about Jalen Hurts just being a game manager or this narrative that any quarterback can succeed behind the Philly offense. That shit should be disproven by now. After this game, since 2022, the Eagles are 0-4 without Jalen Hurts starting or playing. Kenny Pickett looked promising on that first drive of his, I ain't gonna lie. That one ending with the touchdown to A.J. Brown. But we soon discovered how this offense did not succeed without Hurts. Pickett also got hurt in it and played through the second half, so honestly, mad respect to him for playing through injury. So not only did we have a backup quarterback who doesn't have much experience in the starters to begin with, but also an injured backup quarterback. Even before the injury, the deep passes weren't working, and during blitzes, instead of checking it down or scrambling or doing something, Pickett was just taking the sack. With the run game, that was really all we could do because we were not having any success in the pass game, and the defense was able to pick up on that pretty quickly. If you have no passing game and a quarterback who poses no run threat of any kind, of course you're going to have to rely on your star running back Saquon Barkley, and of course the opposition is going to pick up and capitalize off of that. It was clear that there are two completely different offenses, one that has Jalen Hurts and one that has Kenny Pickett. And the one that has Kenny Pickett couldn't get passing touchdowns done. That is a problem. While Jalen's passing wasn't off to a great start, neither was Jaden Daniels, so I don't want to hear any smack about that either. Plus, Jalen was making moves with the run game, something that Pickett cannot do, and something that has to make the defense hesitate a little bit. Is the run going to be by Saquon Barkley, or is it going to be by Hurts? In that scenario, the defense has to make a gamble because they know that both players are dynamic on the ground, but they can't always predict who the ball is going to go with. With Kenny Pickett and Saquon Barkley, however, the defense knows damn well that Pickett ain't going to do shit on the ground. I'm not saying that Jalen is the offense, but Jalen is a huge part of this offense. Without him, the offense cannot perform the same, and it was clear in this game. Yes, points were put up on the board with Kenny Pickett, but 12 of those points were field goals. We did not score a single touchdown after the first quarter where Pickett played 100% of the game. Our defense gave us 5 total turnovers, and we're only able to get a touchdown off of one of them. The remaining 4 turnovers, Pickett and our offense could only get 6 points. That is not okay. An offense cannot succeed without putting touchdowns on the board. And not having our quarterback in there was a domino effect, prohibiting the rest of the team to succeed as much as possible, including helping our defense by capitalizing on those turnovers that they created. If Jalen Hurts is in there, those 6 points could have easily been as much as 28. Not guaranteeing that, but it's not so far-fetched either. I'm not saying the Jalen Hurts injury was the only reason for this offensive failure, because my next take on this offense also played into the loss, and that was the crucial mistakes. Listen, I get it. Players aren't perfect. But this is now the second close game that has been lost due to an uncharacteristic drop. It could just be shitty luck, which is what I'm leaning more towards, or just poor fourth quarter performances, but something's got to be done about this. A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley also had crucial drops that would have extended offensive drives, but if Smith catches that, the game is over. Plain and simple. Yet we've been plagued twice with this scenario. A drop pass and a dropped performance from the defense in the final drive, which I'll get to the defense here soon enough. And I'm not even necessarily mad at the specific players in those moments. I'm just mad at the overall situation. It's like Devontae Smith said in the post-game interview. I made the tough catches all day, and the easiest one I could have, I dropped it. So I don't expect these players to be gods. I just get frustrated that these types of events happen to us more than once and at the worst possible times in the games. Look, mistakes happen. I'm not worried too much about it now, as long as they get things cleaned up in practice this week. Shifting things over to the defensive side of the ball. Now, before I get into my criticism of this defense, I do want to acknowledge the fact that this defense got 5 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and 3 fumble recoveries. That is impressive for any defense. And for the first 3 quarters, our defense was getting the job done. They were holding them to like 14 points. However, the biggest problem with this defense, and what I believe actually cost us the game, is our fourth quarter declining defense. Our defense has been susceptible to giving up scores with under 90 seconds left in the game, regardless if we end up winning that game or not. We saw it in this loss, the loss to Atlanta, and in the wins Washington the first time and with Baltimore. At least 4 games in which our defense has given up a touchdown in the last 90 seconds or so. This cannot happen, especially with playoffs just weeks away. To prevent this, our defense has to get off the field in a timely manner, which comes with stopping conversions. Just within the past couple of games alone, including this one, we've given up 3rd and 8s, 4th and 7s, 4th and 11s, and more 3rd and 4th down scenarios that could have and should have been stopped. Going into the playoffs, Vic Fangio and company seriously need to review film and come up with a game plan for preventing these types of scenarios from happening again. Now, Vic Fangio's got this whole if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of old school mentality, which isn't necessarily bad. I just don't think he realizes our defense becomes broken in the fourth quarter. Hell, you can't even blame the defense's performance because they were, quote, gassed, because they were only on the field for about 24 minutes of the entire game. The remaining 36 minutes and some change, it was our offense. Vic, he's got to come up with a game plan to prevent this garbage time downfall, as I call it, because we cannot afford to give up any fourth quarter scores going into these next games and in the playoffs if we have any chance of getting to the Super Bowl. All right, y'all, we're going to go into the Week 17 preview. So, the Eagles are back in the link, and they're looking to bounce back from a crushing loss in their second and final Kelly Green game of the 2024 season. They will face a Cowboys team that has been eliminated from the playoffs, yet just beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is a team that, for some godforsaken reason, seems to be our kryptonite. At this point, the Cowboys got nothing to lose. They absolutely hate us, as I would expect they would, and they got like Micah Parsons wanting Washington to beat us last week, even though it meant that they'd be eliminated from the playoffs. That's how much this team can't stand us, and frankly, I can't stand them either. So, they're going to come hungry, and they're going to come with a lot of momentum. We're in, yet again, another must-win situation if we want to claim the NFC East Division title. Washington also needs to lose to Atlanta, but that's beside the point. So here's what I think we need to do on both sides of the ball in order to sweep Dallas. Starting with the offense, if Jalen Hurts is playing, this is a no-brainer. We just need to run the offense with the same level of diversity in play calling between run and pass plays that Philly did against Pittsburgh. I mentioned that in that episode where we previewed, I think, the Washington game. But in that one, you had successful quarterback draws, RPOs, deep pass plays. Our offensive options are exponentially better and more plentiful than they are with Kenny Pickett. Now, if it comes down to Kenny Pickett being our quarterback, we're going to have to get creative. Washington was able to pick up on the run game very quickly once Pickett was in the game for like a couple of quarters. So we cannot solely rely on that. Pickett's going to have to get the ball out much quicker than he did, maybe do some actual checkdowns, do some of what Dallas does, and motion a receiver who ends up taking the handoff, do some flea flickers. I don't know. Just some things that were different than what we were doing. Because if Pickett leads us and there isn't some adaptation to the offense that works for him, we're going to be in another world of trouble. Additionally, our offense has got to capitalize off of turnovers. Our defense gave us 5 turnovers, and we returned the favor with 6 points. Unacceptable. It's unlikely we'll see our defense pull that many turnovers again, so if we do get at least one, we have to strategize how are we going to capitalize off that and get into the end zone, because we cannot go with these turnovers without getting into the end zone. Shifting over to the defensive side of the ball, I think the big thing that we need to do is we just have to contain Dallas's pass game. Their run game, even with the small committee, Rico Dowdle, Ezekiel Elliott, it isn't as good as their pass game. Cooper Rush is going to be looking for his receivers all night long because he knows how well we can stop the run. We held Brian Robinson Jr. to, I believe, under like 2 yards per carry last week. So I expect this to be a high passing game coming from the Cowboys. If Quinyon can clean up his mistakes from last week to keep up with CeeDee Lamb, then that can eliminate a lot of passing options, like hell, one side of the field completely. Our nickel and our linebackers will have to keep an eye out for those running back checkdowns, those quick tight end slants, and other short yard passing opportunities. If we can limit their pass game, I think we'll be in a good place for this entire game. The last thing I think they need to do is our defense has to clean up their fourth quarter issues. They gave up 3 touchdowns in the final quarter to lose the game. They have to figure something out. If fatigue is the issue, you got to rotate some guys in so we have fresh legs who can hop in and match the energy of the field as quickly as possible. If zone coverage is the issue, move to man. Basically, if something isn't working, you have to make adjustments ASAP. Call a timeout if you need to do so. The downfall of our fourth quarter defense is what lost us this game to Washington. If we get that fixed in a timely manner, we can get out of this game with a win. All right, to wrap up the show, we're going to go over some predictions. Now, divisional games are always a weird scenario. Dallas is coming to us. We got a lot to play for, and Eagles fans are looking for that bounce back, so I know that they're going to give Dallas and their fans hell coming to the Link. That's why I'm predicting an Eagles win in another close showdown. I'm calling it with the score of 28-24 with a Devontae Smith touchdown, a Saquon Barkley touchdown, an A.J. Brown touchdown, and I'm going to spice it up a little bit with the last touchdown being a Kenny Gainwell touchdown. I know he's only seen the end zone once this year, but who knows? This could be the second time that we see him get into it. All right, y'all, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow us on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok by searching at 2nd and 15. That's 2NDAND15, or by the full name 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can also find the audio for each and every single episode releasing Thursday mornings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, or wherever you get your podcasts. This episode, the 2nd and 15 show, and Old City Sports Network are sponsored by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Use our promo code OCSN at righteousfelon.com for 15% off the best jerky around, and any orders over $50 will have free shipping. We are also brought to you by Warlord Beard Oil. Head on over to warlordbeardoil.com and use promo code OLDSPORTS for 15% off your beard oils, washes, soaps, and so much more. Any order over $75 will receive free shipping. We are also brought to you by SeatGeek. Download the app and use promo code Old City Sports Network, all one word, for $20 off of your first purchase. Old City Sports Network is also brought to you by Robert Hangholt Construction. If you are in the greater Philadelphia region and need some work done with your roof, your windows, your siding, your deck, or anything else you might need for home improvement, call the #1 contractor in the area at 610-348-1066 to get a free estimate today. We're also brought to you by Decals by Aaron at www.decalsbyaaron.com. Check out the website for all your Delco products and merchandise, your #1 spot for everything Delco. And finally, we are also brought to you by Iron and Steel Threads. Head over to their website, ironsteelthreads.com, and use our promo code OldCity10 for 10% off the entire website. And a portion of all proceeds from the website goes to youth hockey organizations. Once again, thanks y'all for joining in. This is 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast presented by Old City Sports Network. Happy Hanukkah and happy Kwanzaa to all those who celebrate. Our next episode will be in the new year, so I wish you all a happy new year as well. To the viewers and listeners, I appreciate your continued support of the show, and may 2025 be a blessing to you all. This is Michael Roscoe signing off. We'll see y'all next week. Don't forget to stay fly like an eagle, and as always, go Birds.